All right, and the big flashpoint of the week involves this spy swap, which is really playing out today in its final stages. 10 accused Russian agents have been sent home to Moscow. 4 imprisoned people from Russia have now been sent to the West. I want to broaden this out, but first, how important is this?
Well, I think it's very important. First, it's the Cold War meeting the 21st century in a very real way. But in terms of the diplomatic relationship between Russia and the United States, where the Obama administration has tried to reset the relationship, creating a sense of goodwill between the countries to work on hard issues, this puts a very messy diplomatic situation to bed. And it does so in a very neat way. The 10 spies plead guilty. They're sent back to Russia. You get 4 individuals, Russian individuals out of Russia back either to the UK or to the United States. And so it's a tidy way of resolving the issue and putting the case to bed and hopefully resolving some of the diplomatic tension that resulted.
I want to talk more about this. I want to bring in the Ward Sloane. He's our senior producer for the Evening News here in Washington and kind of the guy at the point of the spear for editorial for us. Why did this become such a big sensation, Ward?
Well, because for the last week, we were being told what a big deal this was. In fact, you remember there was a great tendency, at least in the mainstream media, to sort of make a joke out of these guys, you know, the mom next door, you know, what are these people up to? And then somehow over the weekend, this turned into this huge deal, and it was the administration was fighting back with us, telling us, you know, you can't put too light a face on these people. They're very important. It was a big plot. It was, you know, this was a big deal. And then all of a sudden we come in here after the July 4th holiday and find out it was such a big deal, they're ready to send them back to Russia like that. and nobody knows why. You know, what was the point?
Well, it is puzzling. I mean, it is puzzling because here we have an effort by Russia over almost a decade to pay for the embedding of people here in this culture, and it looks like they got nothing back.
Yeah, and I think Ward is right. I think part of this is the reality that these spies were soft spies. You know, they weren't deeply embedded moles in the CIA or the Pentagon, and it's likely, from what we're hearing and from, frankly, the lack of information, it's likely they didn't get very much. They didn't get much sensitive information, and so the administration probably made the calculus. It's really not worth it to have these guys in prison for 5-6 years based on the charges that we're able to bring. Instead, let's resolve it diplomatically. What's also odd was who they were traded for, because these soft spies were traded for 3 long-standing Russian intelligence officials and a nuclear scientist. And so there's a little bit of a mismatch in terms of the trade, in terms of the types of spies that we're talking about.
I just want to raise another issue too, and you brought it up when you said the lack of information, and that is, you know, we're supposed to be living in the transparent presidency of Barack Obama, and I have just been amazed at how little information has come out about this, about the decision-making processes, about why, when, where, who, what. I mean, there's you talk to all the various government agencies, and they refer you to the Justice Department, and they tell you they don't know anything. And then we have this very strange interview with Rahm Emanuel on the NewsHour last night, in which he basically says the president was a bystander, that he had no opinion one way or the other, that he was kept informed, that he was briefed about it. Wouldn't even say whether the president agreed with it or not. Shouldn't the president be deciding, yes, we need to do this, or no, I don't want to do this?
Well, how does that work? I mean, Juan, you worked both in the White House and at the Justice Department.
Yeah.
We're told on the face of it, oh, this is just a Justice Department thing. This is a legal initiative. All questions should go there. I mean, that doesn't sound right to me.
Well, it's not right. I mean, technically correct in terms of the disposition of the case. That's the Department of Justice's role. But in terms of the broader resolution of the case and how this works diplomatically, that's just not right. I mean, this is has the State Department involved, no doubt the White House involved in terms of determining whether or not this is the right calculus. And again, at the end of the day, and you see this in some of the court filings, what is at play is not just the court case, not just the prosecution, which the Department of Justice worries about, but it's also the diplomatic relationship and the sense of what's in the long-term interests of our national security. That's a decision made by the State Department, the National Security Council, and the White House. And so I'm not quite sure what role the president had. Maybe we'll find out more in the coming days, but no doubt this is the kind of decision that has to be not only briefed in the White House, but decided upon in the White House.
So, Ward, what's your sense at the end of the week, after we've been told, well, this is a big deal, it took 10 years of FBI effort, and then don't laugh about it. Do you think does it seem like a big deal? I mean, it's certainly been a big news story.
It seems like a big deal, but I'm not quite sure why. You know, and I think that's what we're all left with the question, with that question. And I guess I would say, you know, if I had to speculate, which I like to do, I think what happened was the president was embarrassed that all these people were rolled up right at the time he was meeting with the Russian president in the so-called Hamburger Summit. And, you know, that maybe he was not very pleased that this went down, and put him in a very tricky situation, put the Russians in a bad situation. And for all I know, he came back to the Oval Office and said, get this thing fixed and get it fixed now, because that certainly seems to be what happened.
That sounds plausible, I think.
I think that sounds very plausible. Good speculation.
Yeah, right.
Ward Sloane, Juan Zarate, thanks to both of you.
Thank you, Bob.